All right, good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Spring Street Cigars in Starkville, Mississippi. You're there for basketball or baseball season. It is a beautiful cigar shop and lounge, 2 bars, 2 stories, exposed brick and beams, unbelievable humidor loaded with Liga Privadas, Olivas, Zeno Davidoffs, and Rocky Patel's and such. Spring Street Cigars in Starkville. We are ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. And baseball season's right around the corner, so y'all will start freaking out in Starkville and Oxford. And the left field lounge will be rocking. Of course, we narrowed teams to play better this year. Last year was rough, but we thought it'd be a good time to bring on let's go with this. College Baseball Insider. Stephen Schoch played at Virginia. Now he's got a podcast at Shock Factor Pod. He's got his own brand, and he talks food and everything else, and he's funny, and he's got a cool nickname, Big Donkey 47. Stephen Schoch, when did you get that nickname?
So that nickname, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. The nickname originated in high school because I was going into my freshman year. I was 6'5", but I was like one of those string bean 6'5s, but I was still fat somehow. But I was only like 175 pounds. And at my high school, they had an all-you-could-eat buffet for lunch. It was a very nice high school. I was very fortunate. And I utilized the all-you-could-eat portion of lunch just about every day. It was my recess. You know how recess goes away when you get to high school, but that was really my recess, and I hit it hard, and by the end of it I was 210 pounds. So I put on about 50 pounds my freshman year of high school, and my coach just started calling me the Big Donkey, and I was like, that sounds cool. I like that. I'm going to make that my Twitter name. My Twitter name before that was 108 Stitches because I was like, oh, I love baseball, this will be cool. Pretty lame looking back on it, but I was also like 13 at the time. So I think Big Donkey was like my coming of age story, I'll say.
So were you called Big Donkey on the high school team and at Virginia?
Yeah, so it just rolled right through. It kind of stuck with me. So it was originally my high school coach. It was JV high school coach Kevin Jones was the first one to do it. He played at LaSalle way back in the day. I think their baseball program's still around. There was some back and forth on whether or not they would be back. I'm not certain if they're back, but either way, he played at LaSalle. He gave me the nickname, and it just really stuck ever since then. And then, you know, every time I show up at a new school, people would be like, "Oh yeah, we saw you on Twitter. Your Twitter name's Big Donkey," because you know, back in my day, Twitter was very prominent. It was like the one way to get to know people that you aren't around. So I guess players would utilize that to get some insight into who I was. And it just kind of rolled with me.
Stephen Schoch, former Virginia baseball player, joining us on the Out of Bounds Show. And he's right in the heart of crazy people as far as college baseball with Starkville and Oxford and Baton Rouge all right around us. And, of course, he played in how many College World Series did you play in, Stephen?
I only played in one. Didn't go great. Well, if you're listening to this show, probably went phenomenal. It sounds like for y'all. But, yeah, just the one. I was one and done.
Okay. All right. So you're obviously, you're funny. You got a great sense of humor. You're self-deprecating, but you're smart because you got in UVA. I mean, you knocked down some serious grades in SAT or ACT in high school?
So the SAT, I will say when it comes to education, I didn't put in as much effort as I should have, but I always got by because I tested well. Like, I don't know what it is, but like multiple choice tests, for example, like instead of learning the material, I was in a psychology class and our teacher taught us about like the different psychology of like how tests are made. And like she went into depth about like the psychology of multiple choice tests, which made no sense to me because then she'd give us multiple choice tests and I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna learn. I'm just gonna learn how to do multiple choice. So my SAT scores were pretty decent. I think I took it to the 3-part, and I was in the 2000s, I want to say. But again, this was like 12 years ago by now, so I'm not entirely sure. But it was always good enough to get into the schools that I needed to send my transcripts to. So I guess that works.
All right, UVA is considered really strong academically. Was it hard for you, or does it kind of come easy?
It was pretty difficult just because, it's a big change academically, and the program I was doing it was a lot of writing papers, but you hear that and you're like, oh, that's exciting because it's not test, like no test anxiety. But again, as I just mentioned, I was way better at tests than writing papers, and these were all like, it'd be like you'd have a week to turn in a 10-page paper. I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry to whoever has to read this because I'm just going to say the same thing over and over again for 10 pages. But it was a tough transition, I will say. But there was just so much academic support there helping me like along the way that really, really helped. I mean, it's not like I had horrible grades at UVA, but it was a big change. I mean, any college you go to, it's going to be different, and there's going to be a lot of change. And that's just all kind of part of it, I feel like.
All right. Stephen Schoch on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Baseball season is not but a few weeks away. I think Mississippi State's Twitter account threw up. No, somebody did. Nate Dome, like 25. He wears number 25. And so we were 25 days away yesterday. So we'll all go freeze our tail off in Starkville and Oxford to start the year. Schoch's got the podcast. He's all over Twitter. At Big Donkey 47. And tell me about the walking. All right, Schoch, tell me about the walking taco.
The walking taco is phenomenal. It makes so much sense. And I say this all the time. If you've ever had like Doritos with salsa, it's like cheating in terms of eating food because it's too good. It's too many good flavors all in one. The walking taco is that on steroids. So you get ground beef, you get Fritos, you get salsa, and it's all in this warm bag. Right now, if it's cold, phenomenal meal to have because, it's a little bag of like Fritos or whatever chips you choose. That's the beauty of it. You can make it up as you go. But they are phenomenal. They're nice and warm. They taste incredible. It's like if you had a regular taco, but each bite of the taco had a mixture in it, because that's my one thing with tacos is every bite kind of tastes different because all the ingredients aren't always mixed together. You have cheese and then the sour cream and the beef at the bottom. Beef's my favorite part. That's the part that tastes the best. It fuels me, gives me energy and protein for my muscles. And I'm only getting that in maybe 60% of the bites of the taco. I want that in 100% of the bites, and that's what the walking taco will do for you.
I love this. That sounds fantastic. with several cold beers in the left field lounge. Somebody's got to do the walking taco and out in one of the grills in the left field lounge. We're visiting with Stephen Schoch, former Virginia baseball player, now all in the college baseball, social media, and he mixes in the food part, which we do a lot of too, which is smart. So, do you have a full-time job, or are you doing all this full-time? What's going on?
So last season I had a full-time job of being a realtor and playing baseball. Interest rates were horrible, and I wasn't really into it. It wasn't really for me. And I was like, I want to do more with college baseball. So this offseason, I kind of went nuts with trying to cover the game and trying to, go out and be at a different facility or different field every day or every weekend that I could. And thankfully that all paid off. And now I get to do baseball full time. It was a risk. It was a calculated risk, but we are on the other side of it now where it's really fun. So, my career so far has been a hodgepodge of different things, whether it be coaching baseball, which I don't know why I said that in the career portion. That was just something I did. I didn't make money from that. Just kind of had fun. Yeah, that part, honestly, that goes in the career portion because it's how I kept my sanity. Because, you got to be around the game in some capacity where you're just having fun. Otherwise, you can, if you're just all work around the game, you take out a lot of appreciation and gratitude you have for it. So that's why I love doing that. But then I was a realtor, always door dashing whenever the opportunity's there, because why not if there's the time for it? That's what I did in college, at least. It was a lot of fun. I essentially would just go around town and smell other people's food, which was weird. But I mean, what else are you going to do? I'm not going to roll down the window and let it get cold. That's not in my DNA.
No.
But that was always fun. And at UVA, that was especially fun because, when you go to a college, there's all the food that people at the college love. And all the students are like, oh yeah, this is the bar all the students go to. This is the restaurants all the students go to. But when you're door dashing and delivering to people who live there year round, you're getting to find these hole in the wall places. There's this one gas station a little bit outside of Charlottesville that had the best cheeseburgers I have ever had. And I would have never found them if it weren't for DoorDash. So, while DoorDash may not have given me health insurance, it did give me the benefits of knowing where to go.
I love this. You nailed it too. Good stuff. Stephen Schoch on the Out of Bounds show, former Virginia pitcher, and now college baseball insider / entertainer, joining us today. Hey, what are you coming down to the SEC? We need to get you in the left field lounge, feed you and hook you up.
Yeah, I need to get down there. So this season, my schedule is kind of up in the air. I'm waiting to hear back from one or two more people about where I could possibly be heading. But the left field lounge is definitely on the bucket list of places I need to go. And I feel like once I go there once, it's going to be a recurring every season sort of thing where it's too good not to come back, And I'm jealous of y'all because you get those environments down there where it's so cool, and the park is literally one of the nicest places you can see a college baseball game, and it can feel like I want to keep it special, so I want to go for the big weekends, all the big stuff. I hear Super Bowl weekend is one that needs to be highlighted on the calendar, so I'm not certain which weekend I'm going to get down there, but I will be down there at some point this season.
Okay. We have plenty of listeners that have rigs in the left field lounge. Got to get Stephen Schoch in there. Plenty of beverages and unbelievable food. I mean, they've got, eggs and all kinds of things, people smoking and grilling there. Mm-hmm. And this guy loves some college baseball. What about which baseball school is the easiest to hate? Schoch?
See, this is a tough question for me just because, as a person, I know all these guys are waking up at 6 a.m., running until they puke, putting all that work in. So I feel like I just kind of have a blanket appreciation for all of them to where, I don't really hate any of them. Even the teams that shelled me. I was still appreciative of what they did to get to the point where they can shell me, So it's tough for me to pinpoint one. I would have to think on that for a while.
Go ahead and just say LSU and we'll all be happy.
See, but they make absolute magic on the baseball field.
I know they do.
I feel like the hatred for them is a good hatred, though, in the sense that, a lot of people are like, hey, we hate you because
they're good.
Look at you get a guy throwing 102. He's sitting 102 on Friday nights. It's and you get to watch that every day. But then you get teams like Mississippi State. It's like Durangelo Sanchez. He's gonna take his glove off and throw with the hand he's just catching baseballs with. That's so cool. The amount of talent and the amount of outliers in college baseball has skyrocketed over the past couple of years, and it has been so much fun to watch.
Man, I need Durangelo to have a good year because I need Lemonis to stay. It's a lot riding on the line in Stark Vegas, Stephen. Hey, am I saying your last name right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Did I do Senche right? Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Durangelo is kind of up there in like the college baseball world. People like Cher, Beyonce, Oprah, where it's just one name. It's just one name. Everybody will know.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping they think, I don't know, you know this because you competed at a high level. There's still 3 more weeks to compete. But we were talking to some people that feel like he's got how about this? He's the front runner maybe for the Friday night gig, like you said, throwing, from the left and the right. And they hired Justin Parker from South Carolina, the pitching coach. So they feel pretty good about it. But, Lemonis is on the hot seat and Bianco's on the warm seat. That's how crazy we are down here. And both have been insanely successful. Mike for 22 years, but Chris for a while. We're visiting with Stephen Schoch, college baseball. Check out his podcast, Shock Factor Pod. BigDonkeyBrand.com. It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, when your nickname is Big Donkey, you know that you can smash beers and tacos and have a damn good time wherever you are in the country covering college baseball. We're going to get him down to the left field lounge. All right. What do you think? Can Mississippi State and Ole Miss get to a regional this year?
I honestly think so. I think with Mississippi State, I know last season a big struggle for them was pitching. They had the worst ERA in the SEC, and that's all right because everybody's going to look back on last year and be like, what was that? Like, that was just such a blip in the radar of what Mississippi State baseball is going to be like. And just because so many guys are coming back from injury. I mean, Nate Doan, he's one of the best pitchers last year, and he's still he was dealing with injury the whole time. So think about when he's healthy, how gross he's going to be. And we've seen how gross he's been in the past. And so once he puts it together, you'll have Pico Cone, who's going to come back. And I think he's going to be huge as well. And then I have so much faith in Mississippi State bullpen right now. And a lot of that is because of guys like Pico and Nate, but also Cam Schulke, who he transferred in from a JUCO. He throws from 3 different arm slots that are all funky. Not a single one of them is a traditional arm slot, which I love. And he's 88 to 92 from each slot. That's disgusting. That's like, to me, I would throw from 2 different slots, and I would see it as having 4 completely different pitches, even though I only threw a fastball and a slider. And so for him, he has a fastball, slider, changeup. The slider is disgusting. It's huge. And from some slots, I would even call it a curveball. So this dude's going to come at you with like 40 different pitches in theory, if you're thinking about it in the weird way I think about it, which I think is really cool. So I'm hoping on Friday nights we'll get to see games where Durangelo is doing his thing for 7 innings, being all funky out there. You bring in Cam Schulke for an inning, let him just put the opponents in a blender, a mind soup of what just happened, and then have Nate Doan come in and throw 100 miles an hour. Like, yeah, that's a winning recipe in my mind. And like you said, you get a new pitching coach in town. You get Justin Parker, who had success at South Carolina. And I think that's just something that's going to really click for them this season. So I'm expecting them to be back in a big way.
I hope you're right. I want Lemonis to extend the career at Mississippi State. And then you look at Dakota Jordan and Hunter Hines. Those guys can rake. So they got to find a way to the postseason, even if it's on the road in the regional, and Lemonis stays, which is the best scenario for MSU.
And for both of these teams, honestly, like they showed it to us before in the past, all they need is a chance.
Right.
Like and that's when you know a coaching staff or a coach in itself is a very solid baseball coach. Is they can take teams that may have had rough seasons and may not have been that great during the regular season, and they can teach them, they can lead them so when the pressure's on of the postseason, they can lead that team to stay calm in the storm and say, hey, look, guys, just take it one game at a time. win this game and just keep winning. That way we get to keep playing. And, that's what they've done. And they've taken teams that have had, what I'm sure they would consider, normal SEC seasons and won national championships with them, which that's not something you do if you're a slouch as a coach. And the bats on Mississippi State too. Well, that's another thing I'm excited about. Dakota Jordan could hit a baseball 590 feet this season. I truly believe that. I saw Hunter Hines in the Cape Home Run Derby, and let me tell you, he has one of the most violent swings I've ever seen in baseball, and he is a humongous human being. So I think, I think he's going to really put it together this season yet again, because he always does, and he's going to be a big piece of the lineup. But with both of these teams, again, it's just the leadership is so good, and I know after a tough season, it's hard to hear that. But those are just the ebbs and flows of baseball. Like,
sure.
You can't expect to be good every year. If you expect to go to the plate and get a hit every time, you're gonna hate the sport. So that's again, it's just part of the natural cycle, especially with college baseball. You're building a program and you only have 4 years to do it. I think about that a lot, because it's like you can't really ride out the success of last year because half those guys are always gonna be gone. And so that's the challenge with college baseball. And I think both these coaching staffs did a really good job of reloading with talent.
I agree. Lamonis and Bianco have some really, really good pieces. Obviously, the league is filthy, so you got to navigate that. But your RPI will be fine at the end. Just got to find a way to get to about 14 and 16 in the league gets it. Those teams that go 16 and 14, 17 and 13 are unbelievable, as you know. All right, we're going to make it happen. You're coming to the Left Field Lounge in Duty Noble this year, and we'll put you up and make sure that you're taken care of. So I've only got a minute. What's on the schedule today? You smashing some DoorDash for lunch?
The schedule today is going to be some McDonald's. I'm going to get McDonald's. It's a personal day. I'm going to definitely interview a few people that I'm very excited about. We got some big interviews coming for the Shock Factor. So that's Tuesday is typically my recording day. That's when I do a lot of my content. So
okay.
Pretty laid back day. Nice little Saturday.
I like it.
Tuesday.
All right. So it's it's Shock Factor Pod. Shock Factor Pod. And this guy is fun to follow. He loves the game that we love. And we'll have packed houses at Duty Noble and at Swayze throughout the late winter, spring, and hopefully early summer. Stephen Schoch, we enjoyed it, buddy. Be good, man. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Stephen Schoch on the Out of Bounds Show, former Virginia pitcher, now college baseball insider and entertainer, which is smart. At Big Donkey 47 on the Twitters. And the guy's got a hell of a career in front of him because he gets the whole sport and entertainment thing, which we love too. That interview was brought to you by Spring Street Cigars in Starkville. Beautiful cigar shop and lounge. You can smoke there, all of them. Spring Street in Tupelo, Kosciuszko, Oxford, Meridian. Thanks for listening to the show. Lunch today brought to you by the Sonic Boom Burger at Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue in Flowood.